Hello, I'm Barbara Lucas, and welcome to the Green Room. This monthly program is a collaboration between Ann Arbor Community Television Network and Washtenaw County Public Works and Office of the Water Resources Commissioner. Today we'll be talking about another way Washtenaw County collaborates to put forth information important to the community. Our guest is Mary Mathias Lappe. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Barbara. It's nice to talk to you this morning.
Mary's contracted by Washtenaw County to provide assistance to NPR affiliate WEMU News 89.1 FM with their production of the interview program called Issues of the Environment. So Mary, who's the host and when does it air?
The host for Issues of the Environment is David Fair, and he's also the host for Morning Edition, and Issues of the Environment airs during the Morning Edition broadcast.
Mm-hmm. So to get us rolling, let's listen to the intro of one of the more recent shows.
You may have noticed over the past week or two, when the weather forecast calls for clear skies, it doesn't entirely appear to be clear. There's a haze, and the sunsets have looked different, with more and different colors. These changes can be attributed to the wildfires that are devastating the west coast of our country. I'm David Fair, and this is Issues of the Environment on 89.1 WEMU. The climate crisis is a national and global issue, and having fires thousands of miles away impact the air here in the Midwest, well, that's just one example. On the other end of my phone line is Dr. Richard Rood, and Dr. Rood is a professor of climate and space sciences and engineering at the University of Michigan, and it's nice to talk with you again.
Thank you for asking me.
And now let's just play one of the outros.
This is 89.1 WEMU-FM and HD1 Ypsilanti, celebrating 55 years of broadcasting to Washtenaw County and beyond.
So how long has Issues of the Environment been running?
Amazingly, Issues of the Environment has been running since 1995, and that's approximately 1,200 shows. We do an average of 50 shows a year, one a week, and we never run out of topics to cover.
So this is the 25th anniversary year, sounds like.
Yes.
Congratulations. And I hear that the Michigan Association of Broadcasters gave you all an award recently as well.
You know, it was pretty exciting to be recognized for the kind of work we do. David Fair has done such an excellent job for the past 25 years. He deserved it.
Good. That's great. So how many minutes is the show?
Issues of the Environment runs for about 8.5 minutes, which sounds like a very short amount of time, but you can get a lot covered on these type of issues.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of topics do you usually cover?
You know, it's a wide range. I try to find things that have a confluence of environmental health, public health, even especially water issues, things that might be important to from a consumer angle, not just a habitat or conservation angle.
I know your background's in biology, so you probably enjoy those kind of nature-oriented shows quite a bit.
I do.
Yeah. So what's your role in assisting with the show?
So my role is to sort of be the content coordinator. I look for ideas within our community, especially the greater Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County area. I try to find topics that relate to our environment or relate to a current environmental issue that also affect our population and our listeners, to better connect them to the sort of resources that they might be looking for in terms of taking action or making change in their community.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, I know you're very locally oriented, which is wonderful because I don't know if there's other environmental radio shows that are oriented just to, well, mostly just to our local community, right?
I think that is one of the things that makes Issues of the Environment so unique. David Fair has mentioned that it may be, well, the longest environmentally focused program running in radio. We don't know for sure, but 1,200 shows in 25 years is a lot. And
certainly is.
It is. And you'd be surprised, I think, especially in our region, culturally, people are concerned about these issues. So there's always a lot of dialogue going on. There's never a shortage of topics to cover.
Mm-hmm. And there's no shortage of guests either. It doesn't appear, because you're right, in this university area, EMU and U of M, Wayne State. I mean, you've had guests from Central Michigan University.
We're very fortunate to have so much local talent. One of the things that's been important to me recently has been trying to make sure that we have a good diversity of voices that represent our community. I've always taken an approach that I don't just look for the topic or look for someone who can answer, but I try to look for someone that can answer, that can speak for people that may not necessarily be given a voice in environmental issues. So if that's someone of color who may be experiencing this locally in their community, or there's many women in this discipline, so that's never been a problem. But just to make sure that we're hearing from people from all different walks of life.
That's great. Yeah, and Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area is also a location of a lot of nonprofit organizations. Are there some that you could name that you've had drawn from for guests?
Oh, there's just such a wealth, but I really have appreciated the help of the Ecology Center, Ann Arbor's Ecology Center. The Huron River Watershed Council always has so much going on and very interesting work that they're doing in terms of water quality, monitoring of invasive species, and they're just sort of on the cutting edge of watershed, advocacy. So I think they always have a lot to say.
I've also noticed you've had guests from the National Wildlife Federation. I think they have an office here.
Oh, yes, the National Wildlife Federation has a local office, and they do a lot of their policy work and a lot of their public relations work, I believe, out of that office. And they've also been a good source for issues related to habitat, related to wildlife interactions, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So can you give some examples of some of your shows?
Some of my favorite shows have been ones that relate to consumer protections. I'm a mom now, so I want to know what sort of products are available and things that can protect my family from a lot of the unregulated pollutants that are in a lot of consumer products. The Ecology Center does a lot of investigative work in that area around baby products like car seats and household cleaning products, even the fast food that we eat. And it can be shocking to hear the types of chemicals that are in our food that we just don't know are there, or in our cleaning products. And I just think that sort of thing needs to be more talked about on a daily basis, just so that when we go to vote and when we make policy decisions, the people are informed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a great public service. It's really wonderful. Once a week, you must be so knowledgeable after all these years of doing it. Well, David Fair is too. Both of you are really great assets to the community. And not to forget to mention that on your website, on WEMU.org's Issues of the Environment page, there's great write-ups, background on each of the shows. So people, when they go to the archives, they can find those great write-ups with lots of good links to where the information came from.
Yeah, that's the other half of my job. So on one hand, I'm investigating an issue and asking tough questions, trying to get to the bottom of what people need to hear, what people need to know, or what they might not have already found out in other news outlets. But I do a lot of writing. So each week I will take, my notes and sort of collate them into a document that I think other people might find helpful in terms of connecting to the issue further. And then David Fair will post that to the website.
That's great. I've utilized them myself. It's been very helpful. Thank you, Mary, for all you do.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate that you're able to use it. And thank you so much for, handing this over to me, going on 8 years ago now. And it's been such a joy to be able to serve Washtenaw County and the Water Resources Office and WEMU this way.
So you're referring to how I used to do this show way back in the day, and then you took over. So where can people go to listen to the podcasts?
I think the easiest way to hear it is to tune in during the weekly morning edition, but it at any time you can go onto the WEMU website, and David Fair shortly after the broadcast airs posts a live stream. So I've often gone back and re-listened to some of our interviews in order to get a little bit of perspective before I contact another guest.
Good idea. So Mary, it looks like we're almost out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just wanted to thank Washtenaw County and everybody for approving this sort of funding for this sort of broadcasting, because I think it's somewhat unique, and I think it does an excellent service to people, keeping them on top of the issues in our local community, a greater 4-county area. And we just have a lot of unique issues going on in Southeast Michigan when it comes to race and climate change, water quality issues. I think back when I started doing this, water quality issues were something that I thought were important, but I kind of hesitated to report on because it just didn't seem very interesting to people. And I had to do so much work if I wanted to find out anything about dioxin and, you know, the plume in our community, the Gelman plume. And it was just a lot of digging and crunching numbers and trying to put it all together myself. But in the wake of the water crisis, the Flint water crisis, all of a sudden it sort of launched into the forefront of people's imagination and what the possibilities and the catastrophic problems that could happen if our water suddenly became a resource that was limited. So I think clean water issues have become something that people are eager to hear about, and I appreciate the evolution of this kind of programming.
Mm-hmm. Yes, a great public service. Well, it looks like we're out of time, but Mary, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thanks, Barbara. It's really good to talk to you this morning.
So for this show and all our archived shows, you can go to washtenaw.org/greenroom. Thanks for joining us here in the Green Room.